Ever since Frost was first introduced to audiences in the Tournament of Destroyers of Dragon Ball Super, he's been a figure of much interest and debate. Being the Universe 6 equivalent of Frieza, Frost followed similar routes, taking control over much of his universe through a combination of clever deception and fraud, portraying himself as a hero when in fact he was a villain all along. But many questions have been raised by his very existence. How was Frost created? Does Frost have a father who is the Universe 6 equivalent of King Cold? Or perhaps is he the King Cold in this case? What exactly made Frost choose to go with this heroic facade, as opposed to Frieza, who ruled through fear and brute force? And of course, how strong is Frost, and who does he compare to in the previous series of Dragon Ball Z? Now, the last question has been up for major contention since he first appeared, with some putting his power as low as Frieza on Namek, and some higher than even Super Saiyan 3 Vegito. This point isn't so important as is the question of his potential, and just how powerful Frost can become. And in this case, does Frost, the Universe 6 counterpart of Frieza, have even greater potential than Frieza himself? I think this is a real possibility. The first piece of evidence is Frost's first appearance in the series, and his fight against Goku. Now, during their encounter, Frost was able to execute moves on Goku's base form before even transforming. However, Goku is clearly holding back at this point. Frost then transformed into his charging form and began fighting on par with base Goku, eventually getting the upper hand on him. During this fight, Frost and Goku both transformed again, with Goku going Super Saiyan and Frost going to his final form. Now, Frost was still weaker than Goku's Super Saiyan, however it's clear that his power was greater than that of Goku's base. Now, for context, this is a Goku whose base form was shown to be on par with Frieza's base before both of them took their final forms in Resurrection F. This is a Frieza who trained and unlocked his golden form, and then Goku went on to train with Vegeta for 3 years in the Time Chamber. And while Frost may not be as strong as Golden Frieza or have an additional form of his own, this is still very telling for his potential, because he's significantly stronger than base Frieza was in Resurrection F, and this is a Frieza who actually trained and unlocked a form Frost doesn't have. And while we do see in Frost's backstory that he was on the battlefield, which is collaborated by Kaba who fought alongside him, I doubt he ever truly needed to exert himself at full power in his final form. So while this battlefield experience likely counts for something, it likely means that Frost still has a lot of untapped potential waiting to be awoken. This is further backed up by Frost's encounter with Hit when he was recruited for the Tournament of Power. Frost attempts to fight Hit as he believes that Hit had come to kill him. However, Hit is able to fend it off and reveals his true intentions. Interestingly, Hit says that he was serious for a moment, and that Frost had improved on the run. So if Frost's power and spirit could become stronger simply by being on the run, it stands to reason that if he were to go through intense training, his power would be much greater than it is right now. And considering just how powerful he is right now without a further transformation like Frieza, it's likely that Frost's next evolution would wield a power far beyond even what Frieza now possesses. However, if he would learn to control it or repeat Frieza's mistake and rush out foolishly to use it without seeing its drawbacks, is another story entirely. But given the evidence, I think it's very likely that Frost has much greater potential than even Frieza himself. It could be a matter of their backgrounds, parentage, or simply needing Frost to be strong enough to force Goku to transform in their first encounter. But there's evidence that the story seems to be pointing in this direction, and it would be interesting to see just how the dynamic could shift if Frost were to debut a form like this in the future of Dragon Ball Super, because I could certainly see Frost going from a minor threat to a major one in just one transformation. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you could see all of my content right away when it comes out.
Yeah, and you better subscribe, enable those damn notifications.